The Orioles finally picked up a starting pitcher in free agency, and no, it's not Corbin Burnes. They just gave a 35-year-old $13 million. We'll talk about that in a second. Robert Manfred got called out by an ace, an all-star. He got called out by Kevin Gausman. Kevin said not to trust a single word that Robert Manfred says. That actually happened. And staying with Robert Manfred, he gave a nearly 30-minute interview with questions for cancer, talking about the pitch clock, ghost runners, deferred money, the ABS, automatic ball strike system. He talked about a lot, and we're going to get into that later in the video. If you're brand new to the channel, this is MLB Recap. We give updates every single day on the game of baseball. So if you like that sort of stuff, leave a like and stick around. Hit that subscribe button. Now, you might be wondering why I'm wearing a Dodgers hat to begin today's recap, and that's because I did not want to forget to talk about the fact that Freddie Freeman's walk-off Grand Slam baseball just sold at auction for almost $1.6 million. It sold for $1.56 million. Now, that's not the only baseball that just got sold in auction. The Aaron Judge dropped baseball just sold for almost $44,000, just above $43,000. So the Freeman ball, 1.56. That infamous drop baseball from Aaron Judge out there in center field just sold for $40-something thousand. Just bananas. We'll talk about the 35-year-old star pitcher that just went to the Orioles after we talk about the 28-year-old electric factory, Jefry Yan. Look at this dude. This dude is going to make so many people mad, but also become a lot of people's favorite pitchers overnight because Jefry Yan is a madman on the mound. Now, walks have certainly eaten him alive, and he's going to go to the Rockies where baseballs absolutely fly, but this is one of the first times in a while that he's going to be given a chance at cracking a Major League Baseball roster, and so far in the Winter League, he's actually gotten the walks in check for the first time in a long time, since early in his Dominican career. I had to bring him up because you rarely see this from an athlete, let alone a baseball player. Do you think that he's going to be loved for it or hated for it? And without further ado, let's talk about 35-year-old Tomoyuki Sugano. If I botched that, I'm really sorry, but he just signed for $13 million. That's a lot of money. He's getting more than Shane Bieber to pitch in 2025, which again blows my mind because he's 35 years old and has never pitched in Major League Baseball, let alone won a Cy Young like Shane. But then again, Shane, he's coming off of Tommy John. Now, Sugano is no Kodai Senga or Yu Darvish, and what I mean by that is he still puts up those kinds of numbers, and I'm talking about Japan numbers, but he's not a flamethrower like a Darvish or a Senga when they came over to Major League Baseball, but his movement makes up for it plenty. Look at the movement on some of these pitches. Now, again, he just turned 35 years old, but he did have a tiny 1.67 ERA last year en route to winning the Central League MVP, but he also has a tiny 6.4 strikeouts per nine. He had 111 strikeouts in 156 innings, so a lot of people are saying, hey, those numbers are not going to cut it in the game of baseball with better talent. Now, he actually did get a live look at Tomoyuki back in 2017 in the World Baseball Classic. He went 6 innings. He allowed 1 earned run. He struck out prime Christian Yelich, Nolan Arenado, Adam Jones. I know he wasn't fully prime Adam Jones, Giancarlo Stanton. The movement on some of these pitches and his ability to just challenge the zone with the fastball and the cutter, he looks like he could be really good. But again, 2017 was nearly 8 years ago, so we'll see how much has changed. He was in his 20s then. So on paper, the Orioles could go Zach Eflin, Grayson Rodriguez, Dean Kremer, Tomoyuki Sugano, and Trevor Rogers. What about a Corbin Burnes? What if they trade Heston Kjerstad for another starting pitcher? Well, it seems like a trade might be a little bit more probable because reports are surfacing that the new owners of the Orioles really want to spend money, but the GM, Mike Elias, I can't remember how to say his last name, he is hesitant to take on that much money because he does not want to risk his reputation as a GM or his plan to be the anti-Dodgers. Again, the rumors are saying that Mike Elias wants to build the antithesis of the Dodgers. He wants to prove that you can build a team from within. Now, I just want to remind people real quick, maybe if you're brand new to baseball, the Orioles, the reason why they've had so many top picks is because they were a bottom feeder for the longest time. Don't believe this guy. He's very much had to really suck it up in order to get all of these high draft picks. Also, they just brought in the wall, the left field wall. They moved it back to stop Aaron Judge and the Yankees, and then they brought it back in because they realized, hey, we can't get free agents. So on one hand, he's saying, I don't want to risk it. I don't want to give a lot of money to free agents, but then he's admitting to giving $50 million to Tyler O'Neill, almost $10 million to Gary Sanchez, bringing that wall back in, incentivize these free agents to come and sign with the Orioles, but he doesn't want to be known as a guy who purchased the World Series. Which one is it? I'm just going to go ahead and say that Orioles fans are not dumb. You have a brand new ownership group who wants to spend money. Go get Corbin Burnes, you dummy. The last few times we've talked about trade rumors, they've actually come to fruition. I know that we didn't get the team right for Kyle Tucker, but we talked about him going to the Phillies, and then he was traded a couple minutes later to the Cubs. The Cubs might be going forward again. The reports are that a Jesus Luzardo trade might be imminent, and the Cubs are reportedly the front runners, and that would be a nasty 1-2-3 lefty trio with Justin Steele, Shota Imanaga, and Jesus Luzardo. Now, he did just have his worst season since 2021 when he put up a 6+ ERA. He had a 5 ERA in 2024 with more walks, less strikeouts, a terrible combination. But to be fair, he had elbow issues, back issues, and 7 of his final 8 starts were quality starts. So I get why the Cubs would want to get this guy. He's young, and also he's nasty. He's throwing 97+ when he's actually right. Let's go ahead and talk about that near 30-minute interview that Robert Manfred had with questions for cancer research. So I'm going to go ahead and kind of go by bullet point, but if you want to watch the full thing, I'll leave it in the description down below. So the first thing they talked about is Robert Manfred will not be implementing an innings limit for starting pitchers. Basically that he will not be requiring teams and starting pitchers to go 5 or 6 innings or else something bad is going to happen. Now, he did add that he wants to create a series of rules that creates incentives to develop a certain type of starting pitcher in the minor leagues, that he wants to incentivize teams to create pitchers that go longer and longer in the game. Now, the Blue Jays ace and all-star Kevin Gausman, he came out and fired off on Robert Manfred once he caught wind of this. He said not to believe a single word the man says, which, I mean, Kevin Gausman firing off on the commissioner on a random, what day is it today? Tuesday? That's wild. Manfred really wants to go back to the kind of old school 80s, 90s way of pitching where a Pedro Martinez would basically be penciled in for 6 or 7 innings. And same with a Curt Schilling. He said that the face that we see the most in a broadcast is the starting pitcher. The fact that they're going 2 or 3 innings, if that, in a playoff series, and then you bring in the bullpen for 7, 8 innings, he hates that and he wants that to change. But I don't know how he's going to do that with just incentives to tell teams, hey, build up starting pitchers. They're already doing that, but bullpens are that good. He also briefly mentioned that MLB physicians have tagged velocity and spin as the Tommy John culprit, not the pitch clock. Here we go. He talked about deferred money. He actually said out loud that deferred money is becoming problematic because the numbers are getting higher and higher. He says that, again, they're problematic when the numbers are big. He brought up the case from 2004 when the Diamondbacks, they ran into a lot of trouble. They deferred almost $260 million. Again, this is 2004, so 260 was a lot. And then the rules had to change where teams had to put the present day value in escrow so that the player wasn't screwed out of a potential payday later, and the team just kind of ran out of money before an owner had to be forced out. Now, Robert Manfred didn't specifically say this out loud, but for some context, I do want to tell you guys that the owners in the last CBA lockout actually wanted to get rid of deferred money. The MLBPA, the players, rejected that idea. So the players, they want deferred money in baseball because it helps them on the back end with taxes. At least that's what I can assume. Manfred said that he is happy with the pitch clock and the ghost runner rule in the regular season, so those are not going anywhere anytime soon. And lastly, he said that the ABS, the automatic ball strike system, is accurate down to 1/100th of an inch, and that 2026 could be the first year that we see this in play, but he wants to treat it like the replay system where it's not on every single play. At least that was what I got from the interview. He wants to keep it for the big moments. And I've seen this live down the street when the Aviators are playing. That is the AAA team for the A's. It kind of gets annoying, I'm not going to lie, but it also forces the umpires to get better because you don't want to get embarrassed in front of a crowd full of people that you got a call wrong. So to me, it almost made the umpires lock in, and I kind of liked it as the game progressed. The umpire just got better and better. I know I said it was annoying, but it was annoying the first few times I saw it. As the season aged and the umpires seemed to get used to it along with the players, they were smarter about using it. It wasn't as bad. Actually, one more thing I forgot to mention. Manfred said the biggest challenge so far for the ABS, the automatic ball strike system, is the shape of the zone. Umpires call the zone in an oval, whereas the ABS system calls it in a square. And also, he hates that Major League Baseball has to put an on-screen graphic of the strike zone because he says the on-screen visual, you know, what we see, balls or strikes, that's not accurate at all. He wishes that it would go away completely. What do you guys think of that? That does it for today's recap. If you guys want to be updated on the game of baseball, again, hit that subscribe button, leave a like if you enjoyed or learned something new, and I'll catch you in the next one. Stay safe.